everybody, thanks for watching. So yeah, real quick, Merkabah Scholar Society members, make sure you guys check the app and check your email for the last meeting video, as well as for the money video. It's now available. If you guys do not use the app, or if you're not on the app, as far as members, if you have any issues, make sure you guys send us an email so we can fix that problem for you guys. All right. But yeah, let's get right into this video. So yeah, for everybody that's in the meeting, we talked about a few things as far as, Trump and what's happening with Venezuela. So yeah, I talked about before how, America was down there in Mexico, and that Venezuela and Mexico was possibly going to be some issues down there. So we can see what happened with, Venezuela being invaded, former president being taken, or what have you, and then America taking a large supply of their oil reserves, right? Oil supply. And this is something that's going to happen. You guys seeing oil prices go down. And that's something we're going to continue to see for a little bit. But the biggest thing with that was Venezuela was basically pricing their money. It was backed by their oil, right? So this is something that they had going on. This is something that America definitely doesn't want anybody else to catch on. But it's good for America when you understand how they can combat what's happening with BRICS and the yuan being backed by gold. And you having BRICS going to these other nations and saying, hey, you guys come and join us, come with us. We can guarantee you, this money is going to be backed by gold and not just nothing, won't be fiat. And you can have confidence in this money system. The problem is, they're not giving that same incentive with loans. And a lot of these countries run on loans. America gives out the majority of loans and gives out a lot of money to these countries. So it's still more, the ball is still in America's hands as far as having the, rest of these countries basically price their commodities in the dollar, right? So the dollar, say it's weak, it's weakening or what have you. It's a lot of creative things they're doing to keep the dollar going. And not just that, to keep this economy and keep the system going with this American government. So one, taking control of this oil reserves and this oil supply, and then now having this oil, we're going to see that, things are going to be tokenized, and oil is going to be tokenized, and oil will basically be worth a certain amount of oil, be worth a certain token or a token amount or what have you. So they're basically going to take a token that's going to be worth a certain amount in oil, and we're going to see this tokenization happen, and that's going to be the key word for the next few years. So understanding tokenization is going to be everything, and everything is going to get tokenized eventually. And that's a part of their plan to tokenize just about everything that exists. So we get into this deeply in the society, but I'm going to touch on it briefly here. But if you're in the society, you already know. But, I want to prepare you guys for just what's going to be coming this year, 2026. It's a lot. And it's a lot to prepare for, a lot to get ready for, and a lot of people are not going to be prepared for or benefit from it. So you guys got to pay attention to what could possibly be the changes to come. So you guys got to look out for what's next. And that's the problem. Over the years, and you would think people would learn their lesson by now, we've seen multimillionaires and billionaires arise because they are good forecasters. They are good trends forecasters. They stay ahead of the game. They understand what's happening with this system, right? With this government. And those are the people making money. Everybody else is just a part of the machine, right? You're running a company, you're running a business, you're scrubbing floors, you're cleaning toilets, whatever it is. You are part of the system, keeping it going. Meanwhile, it's people that's benefiting from off your labor and what you do. And you're not. And that's the issue. So as long as they can keep everything hush hush and quiet and make you guys, seem like this isn't a big deal. Everything's a distraction. You have entertainment. You have who's doing this, who's doing what. The guys behind the scenes and the guys that's looking to take advantage of you are making lots of money off of you and off of what's being done. So it's like, if you don't understand what's coming and what's next and how things are going to change, how the world is about to move forward in a major way, then you're going to be left behind just like our parents was. And everybody who didn't benefit off of the higher ups having this knowledge, right? And this knowledge is important because it's how you set your family up for the next few, generations to come. And everybody who benefits from what's coming is going to set their families up for that type of situation because the wealth gap is going to be insurmountable and you won't be able to close it after this. It's just nothing you're going to be able to do because everything is coming to a head now. So where you can come up with an invention, right? Make a lot of money. It's how America was built. It's how a lot of people made their money. You come up with a new product, a new thing, a new this, a new that. It's a small window for that even because everything is about to be done. It's about to be a completely different way of doing things when they start tokenizing every single thing. And if you understand what tokenization means, is you basically taking any type of asset, whether it's a phone or what have you, and you digitizing it. You're making it a digital commodity that could be put on the blockchain. And that's where everything is headed, the blockchain, right? So if you think about tokenization, it's just basically taking something that's physical and making a digital footprint of it so it can exist on a blockchain and basically, with AI. And that's essentially what they've done with AI, which is why, you see it how it is. I broke this down before, how whenever you take a photo or any video you ever took and you upload it, all it did was take that video and digitize it. And every single thing that's in that video or in that photo has a digital footprint, even skin. So now it's just about speed and how fast can you go and grab that digital code to recreate that skin, that look, or what have you. And this is how they can, make AI to basically digitize the entire world into looking very real in these videos, in these AI videos. A lot of people can't even tell the difference. So if you think about that, just think about what they've already done. And then now they have to actually do it, which is why, again, all these data centers are being built all over the world so they can house that information. It's going to be a big deal. Everything's going to be changed. And you have to think about what's next and how can they, build on this and add to this, and how can I get ahead of it and make money and set myself up and be in a good position, right? So computers is the big thing right now. And right now, they don't want you to have them. They don't. And now we're in a way where we can control our components, right? We have computer parts. And as you can see, they're getting increasingly expensive, right? A graphics card is like in the thousands, a good one, right? You want a 5090, it's going to run you about $2 to $4 grand, right? You want good RAM, it's going to run you about $300. And it's just going to keep getting higher and higher and higher, depending on how you want your computer to be built, to the point where only people who can really afford, if you got crazy money, are you going to be able to have the kind of computer you need to basically run AI and do amazing things or what have you. And that's going to change eventually, because now when you think about what AI is and think about this digital stuff I was just talking about, you can do that with software now, right? So if you think about Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, even PlayStation 1, all the other old consoles, right now you can go into most malls. You can find a guy at a kiosk selling you a little box where you can play all of those systems on one box. Or if you have a good enough computer, you can basically have an emulator and emulate any one of those consoles and just play the game. So the same thing is going to happen with computers, because if everything is going to go the way of digital, you just need a box that can handle it. Whereas if we take everything and make it a digital footprint, you're not going to need the computing power to put out, all of this information from your computer, where you could just have something that's already, if everything's digitized and already tied to AI and tied to the net and already in these data centers, you just need something to basically project that data, right? If you understand what I'm trying to say. So if you think about a PlayStation and now you can have an emulator, all the emulator is doing is taking a digital, signature of the game, the digital signature of the console itself and the joysticks, and it's projecting it on your computer so you can play that game without having the actual console. So basically, we look at it and we say, well, the console basically exists within our computer, but it's not the console itself. As we know, it's the actual digital, workings of that console that we have in our computer. So we're going to take how that game system ran digitally, mimic it, put it in a computer where it can be run. So think about that. Think about that and think about doing the same thing, but with a computer, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So now we can make it to where eventually they'll make it to where you'll have a small box that'll do everything, right? It won't need the heating and cooling and the power, because it's all going to be digital, but they'll control every single aspect of it. And that's where we're headed. The world is changing, and it's changing in monumental ways. And, we're going to begin to see it once these data centers are up and running. And as they're pouring in so much knowledge, that we've been giving them for decades now. So, basically everything they need, they have it. And a lot of people, we're out there, and it's about this revolution and this fight, and everybody, government this, black, white, that. And meanwhile, while we bickering and arguing, They are changing the world, and they're telling you exactly how they're doing it and what they're going to do and what's to come. And it's up to you to take that information, process it, and benefit from it, because that window is there. Everybody has an opportunity. So if you pay attention and you see what's going on with XRP, I broke that whole thing down. And, if you're in the society, you understand. So with XRP, we're going to keep seeing more of the same. The reason why XRP even shot up a little bit is because now when they see what happened with Venezuela, they understand it's going to be a real need for XRP, because Swift is not going to be able to handle, those transactions. It's outdated. It's old. It needs the help. And eventually we know XRP is going to get a good percentage of Swift to process, those cross-border payments, transactions. And we wanted to get like at least between 5 and 11%, hopefully 11%, because that'll put it in the trillions to where we know XRP will shoot up to where we need it to be. And everybody who holds at least 1,000 shares will be, you'll be set for life. And that's the goal. We know that's coming. So if you're falling into what XRP is doing and this and that, up, down, what have you, you don't understand the game and how it works. So, what happened with Venezuela is directly tied to XRP. It's directly tied to crypto. Trump is the crypto president. What he's doing is calculated. It's very easy to see what's coming and what's going to happen. The thing is, you don't believe it. You don't care. You've never seen anything like this. Oh, well, the world is just going to do this. You're so used to what you're used to. And that's how everybody gets caught, because you're so caught up in the norm and caught up in what you think it is. And it's completely not. It's the opposite. And it's going to look like it's the norm for a while until it changes. And the change is going to be very fast, right? Only people who see the signs are going to know the signs. Only people who know the signs are going to see the signs, I should say. And it's going to be too late for everybody else, because, you got bills to pay. You got to go to work. You got to get some sleep now so you can get up on time to get to work, right? You got to take the kids to school. You got to feed the kids. You got to do this and that. You got to, worry about this. And this timer's running out. It's running out. These warnings and everything that people is putting out, all these videos, a lot of it is bullshit. A lot of it is misdirection. But what's true across the board, each video, is the change is coming, and it's going to be a big change that we're all going to feel and we're all going to have to deal with. So, not trying to, scare anybody or anything like that. It's just to get you guys ready and prepared. It's the new year and a lot's supposed to happen this year. But the biggest thing you guys are going to hear throughout the year, if you're paying attention, is tokenization. Plain and simple. Everything will be tokenized. Everything will be on the blockchain. What I tell you before in the videos, the blockchain is Skynet. If you understand Terminator, that's what it was talking about. Not a coincidence that chip looks exactly like the blockchain from Terminator 2. That's not a coincidence. It's telling you exactly what it is and what's going to happen. But you have to think ahead of the game and what is the possibilities that they're going to be able to do or use AI for. And these are some of the things, right? What is the point? It's destroying jobs. Your jobs are going to be completely gone in so many ways, because AI is more sophisticated and advanced than you even realize. It can write songs. It can recreate your reality and make it look completely real. You guys seen what it can do. If you guys are using Sora 2 and Sora, what have you, you see how powerful it is. So how are people going to be able to tell the difference if the media puts out something? Because you guys believe the news. The news can show you something completely AI. And because it's the news media, you're not going to know if it's real or not, if it's true, especially if something like a lockdown happens and you guys are stuck in the house through the martial law, what have you. Who's going to know? Right? So it's a lot that can happen. There's a lot that's coming up that a lot of people are just not going to be prepared for. And, it's a lot. It's not a coincidence. It's a new, Hunger Games movie coming out. You guys got to pay attention, man. A lot is coming. It's going to change. I talked about before, World War II, even World War I. The people in those countries, man, they had no clue what was happening, what was going to happen. Like they completely laid waste to France. France was devastated. You look at London, you look at a lot of these countries that had so much bombs falling and their world was turned upside down. They in no way believed that would be possible. It's the same thing what happened with the Holocaust and the Jews. Who could have ever fucking thought? And it's a major change that had to happen to bring in what's taking place today. And now you just got to look and see, this is America. A lot of people, you're thinking to yourself, it's no way. It's not going to happen here. The people are going to rise up, so on and so forth. And it's not about that. It's the complete opposite. It's other ways to win a war. So now we see what's going on today with Greenland. Trump that's about to violate international law. And you have this trade deal that's basically squashed because what's happening with Greenland, and the EU don't want nothing to do with it because they see something bad could possibly happen with the whole situation, which that's not good because even still, you can understand if you look at it, how Greenland for military purposes is a good spot, being that Sweden is neutral. And, you can't really go there. And if you're going to have any type of war with Russia, Greenland would be a good spot to go since Sweden is neutral and you can't really go there, in Ireland, and how that is a major control area for anybody that's coming through, that area. So this is something to look out for, which I'll get into this more down the line because it's kind of scary when you understand that if it's an issue with Greenland or if something happens to where we can't rely on the EU or rely on Ireland and where they're patrolling and keeping an eye on that area, making sure, Russian subs are not coming through there, then we're open for attack. And we could possibly be open for attack if our allies abandon us because of what's going to happen with Greenland if we don't, in fact, capture Greenland, which if we do, it really won't matter because they'll be in a good position. But if we're not getting the help from our allies in that area, then, it's still risky. Something to think about because we'll be open for an attack on the East Coast, really anywhere, but especially the East Coast. So that's something to think about down the line. But again, these are pieces of the puzzle that's playing out and, painting a bigger picture of things to come. So I wanted to touch on this in the beginning of this video just to give you guys an update on where I'm at with a lot of this stuff. And, again, if you're in the society, we get into this a lot deeper and we got a lot more to talk about in the society. I just wanted to touch base with my YouTube squad about this and have you guys up to date on it. It's a lot of stocks coming. It's a lot of things that you guys need to put your money in and start investing in and understand why it's important to do this right now and what's coming. So the tokenization of so many different things, especially energy, the biggest one, is happening. And you can look it up and see how the tokenization of energy is about to be big time. But it's just, it's only going to be for a limited time when you really understand, because it's a bigger thing out here. Because common sense will tell you to tokenize oil, okay, well and good, but we have electric cars and eventually we're going to have self-sustaining or self-powering cars to where we won't have to charge them anymore because they'll basically power themselves while we run it. It'll be self-generating energy. We know it's out there. We also know that there's this wireless electricity that exists. Tesla talked about it. We proved it in Egypt. We know it's out there. So we know eventually we'll tap into that at some point. So these, energy tokens, what have you, involving oil is something that's not going to be around for a long time. But in the short term, it's something that's going to generate a lot of money, right? And it's just going to be out there. The tokenization of energy is coming. The tokenization of a lot of different things is going to happen. And we're going to start to see it a lot this year. So be prepared for it and understand where you need to be putting in and investing your money in. As I said, we talk about it in society. So yeah, I want you guys to think about it. Tokenization and every single thing you buy from a supermarket or store that, has a barcode now. So barcodes are done, they're obsolete, but it's what they use to scan a product, right? That's eventually going to change, right? Because all this stuff, if it's tokenized, so that means the value of a product when you go, let's say you go to the supermarket and you grab a gallon of milk and it's scanned and that price automatically shows up in the system. That price would be the price, the token price, right? So you basically do the same thing essentially, except for that price being in dollars, it's going to be in whatever that token represents, right? So that token could be something that the store wants it to be, priced in whatever, or, it just can be, still priced in dollars, or you'll have an option of how you want to pay for it. So case in point, you buy a gallon of milk, they scan it, and you have an option of how you want to pay for it. And then it'll be like, well, I would choose whichever form of currency is the cheapest for me to use to get the gallon of milk. You understand, right?